Have you ever bought a bunch of cilantro that looked very fresh, with vibrant green leaves and a very pleasant aroma, but then only a few days later, when you opened the refrigerator, the cilantro had already wilted, the leaves had turned yellow, the stems had become soft, and there was an unpleasant smell? If you have also experienced this, then today's video is definitely one you should watch until the end. Because with just a few very simple methods, we can keep cilantro fresh longer, make it more convenient to use, and most importantly, avoid the regret of having to throw away a whole bunch of herbs just because they were stored the wrong way. Which beautiful country are you watching this video from? Please leave me a comment and let me know. It is wonderful that we are able to meet each other from all around the world. Before we begin, take a look at your bunch of cilantro for a moment. If there are any yellow leaves, bruised leaves, or stems that have become soft, you should remove them first. Any damaged parts left together with the fresh herbs will make the whole bunch lose quality more quickly. After that, if the cilantro still has a lot of dirt on it, you can rinse it gently with clean water. Cilantro is quite soft, so there is no need to rub it hard. Just rinse it gently to remove the dirt. And here is a very important point: after washing, you must let the cilantro dry very well. You can spread it out on a clean towel or paper towel, then gently pat away the excess water. The cilantro does not need to be completely dry like herbs prepared for dehydration, but it also should not still be soaking wet. If the herbs still hold too much water and you put them straight into a container or a sealed bag, they can easily become waterlogged and develop a smell. But if the cilantro is dried properly, the storage time will be much better. Now we begin with the first method. Method 1. This method is very simple, but the result is very effective, especially if you often use cilantro within a few days to about 1 week. First, prepare a clean glass jar. The jar does not need to be too large, it only needs to be tall enough to keep the cilantro stems standing upright. Then pour a little clean water into the jar, only about 1 to 2 finger joints deep. There is no need to pour too much water, because we only want the root ends to touch the water, not the whole stem and leaves to be soaked. Next, trim a little off the bottom of the cilantro stems. Lightly trimming the ends helps the herbs absorb water better. Now gently place the bunch of cilantro into the jar, with the stems in the water and the leaves above. At this point, the bunch of cilantro will look like a small green bouquet, very pretty to look at. After placing it in the jar, use a clean plastic bag or a large zip bag to loosely cover the leaves above. You do not need to tie it too tightly. Just cover it loosely to keep some moisture around the leaves, helping the cilantro not dry out too quickly in the refrigerator. Store the jar of cilantro in the refrigerator. With this method, about every 2 to 3 days, you should check it once. If the water in the jar becomes cloudy, replace it with fresh water. If any leaves turn yellow or get bruised, remove them right away. That way, our cilantro will stay fresh much longer. This method is very suitable if you want to keep cilantro fresh for direct use. For example, sprinkling it over soup, noodles, tacos, salad, or using it to garnish a dish before serving. The herbs still keep their beautiful leaf shape, fresh aroma, and pleasant green color. What do you think of this method? Have you ever tried it? Leave me a comment and let me know. Method 2. This is also a refrigerator method, but it is neater than the first one. After the cilantro has been cleaned and dried, prepare a few clean paper towels. Spread the paper towels out on the table, place the cilantro on top, then gently roll it up. You do not need to roll it too tightly, because if you press too hard, the leaves can bruise easily. We only need the paper towel to wrap lightly around the bunch, helping absorb excess moisture and keep the herbs from becoming too wet. Place the wrapped bunch into an airtight container or a zip bag. If using a container, choose one that is clean, dry, and has a lid. If using a zip bag, simply place the cilantro inside, gently press out some of the air, and close the bag. Then put the container or bag into the refrigerator. The nice thing about this method is that the herbs are kept in a fairly stable environment. The paper towel helps control moisture, while the container or zip bag keeps the herbs from drying out because of the cold air in the refrigerator. This is a very practical method for people who buy one bunch of cilantro and want to use it gradually during the week. Each time you need some, just take out the amount you need, then close it again right away. If the paper towel becomes very wet, you can replace it with a new sheet. This helps prevent the cilantro from sitting in moisture too long, which reduces the chance of waterlogged leaves and soft stems. This method is very suitable for ordinary family meals. For example, today you cook soup and take a little cilantro. Tomorrow you make a meat dish and take a little more. The next day you make salad or an egg dish and use just a bit again. The cilantro is stored neatly in the container, so it is very easy to take out, easy to check, and it also keeps the refrigerator from getting messy. Even though it is still stored in the refrigerator, with only a small change, you can get a surprising result. Method 3. Now we move on to the method for those who want to store cilantro for a longer time. This method is very convenient when you buy a lot of cilantro, or when the bunch has started to lose its fresh appearance for eating raw, but it is still fragrant and not spoiled yet. Instead of letting it continue to wilt in the refrigerator, you can prepare it and then put it in the freezer to use gradually for cooked dishes. First, the cilantro still needs to be cleaned, rinsed gently, and dried very well. For freezing, the drying step is even more important. If the herbs still contain too much water, once frozen they will easily stick together into one large clump, and each time you take them out, it will be very inconvenient. So please be patient and let the cilantro dry well. You can use paper towels to gently pat the leaves and stems, then leave them for a few more minutes so some of the moisture can evaporate. When the cilantro is dry, place it on the cutting board and chop it into the size your family usually uses. There is no need to chop it too finely, just enough so that when cooking, you can take it out and use it right away. After that, put the chopped cilantro into a clean zip bag. Spread the herbs into a thin layer inside the bag, gently press out some of the air, then seal the bag. Frozen cilantro is very suitable for adding to hot dishes such as soup, stew, sauces, curry, fried rice, noodles, porridge, or stir-fried dishes. When it meets heat, the herbs will release a very pleasant aroma. However, you should also know that cilantro after freezing will not look as beautiful as fresh cilantro for garnish. The leaves will become softer, and the color may become a little darker. So this method is best for cooking, not suitable if you want to sprinkle it over a dish like fresh cilantro. But in return, this is a very good way to avoid waste. Many times, we only need a little cilantro for a dish, but when we buy it, we still have to buy a whole bunch. If we do not know how to store it, a few days later it is already spoiled. But if you chop it and freeze it properly, you can use it gradually for a long time, which is very economical and convenient. Method 4. Here is another way to store cilantro in the freezer, and this method is very interesting. First, you also prepare cilantro that has been cleaned, rinsed gently, dried well, and chopped. Have you subscribed to my channel yet? If not, you can click the subscribe button to support me in making more useful videos. Now prepare a clean ice cube tray. Put the chopped cilantro into each section of the tray. You do not need to pack it too tightly, just add an amount that is enough for one use each time. If you want to use it for soups, stews, porridge, noodles, or broth, you can pour clean water into the tray, just enough to cover the cilantro. But if you want to use it for stir-fries, sauces, pasta, meat dishes, or hot vegetable dishes, you can add olive oil instead. Olive oil will make the cilantro cubes more fragrant, and they are also very convenient when added to a hot pan. After adding the water or oil into the tray, place the tray in the freezer. When the cilantro cubes have frozen solid, take them out of the tray, put them into a zip bag or airtight container, then continue storing them in the freezer. This helps keep the ice tray free for other uses, and at the same time the cilantro cubes are also stored more neatly. When you need to use them, you only have to take one cube and put it into a pot of soup, a stew, a pan of sauce, or a stir-fry. The cilantro cube will melt, and the aroma will blend into the dish very quickly. This method is especially convenient for busy days. You do not need to rinse, do not need to chop, and do not need to take out the cutting board and knife again. Just open the bag, take 1 cube, add it to the dish, and you are done. I am truly very pleased to have learned this method. I can make use of the cilantro from my garden and eat it over several months without worrying that it will spoil. If you have not tried it yet, please do. If you find today's video helpful, please press like to support Merry Home. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe so you do not miss the little tips that help make our kitchens more organized, more economical, and easier to care for every day. And now, please share with me in the comments, where you live, what dishes is cilantro used in most often? Do you prefer using fresh cilantro, or do you prefer freezing it to cook with gradually?